Today I'm going to be breaking down a case study with a client that we were working with, and over the past 90 days we've scaled them to £1.4 million in sales. We started working together and they were capped at 500k per month. They were stuck at that for around a few months. I think it was around 6 months. They couldn't scale past 500k, and we implemented our meta ads, and you can see here the past 30 days we've done 1.4 million in sales in meta. And today I'm going to break down the full case study, so the problem they faced, what we did, challenges and the outcome, and a few different exercises that you can do for your own business that's going to help you get better results inside your ad account. And if you don't know who I am, I'm the founder at Media Engineered. We help meta advertisers scale by finding their winning messaging and then scaling that with proven formats. So let's get straight into the video. So here we are, I've got the breakdown on screen, 540k to 1.4 million a month in 90 days, meta ad creative case study. Now I've got lots of graphics as well, it's going to help you visualize all of this. But as I said, the brand was capped at 500k per month. They only ran Google Shopping, they had super high ROAS, but they couldn't scale past 20k per day. The owner was a super strong operator, but he lacked a marketing background, and the return customer rate was very low, so around 3%, so they couldn't really justify a high customer acquisition cost. Product had been limited just to organic demand creation, so they captured people already searching. Pretty much that means that people are searching for the product in Google and they're not generating demand at the minute, they're just capturing the demand. So if we visualize this now, so there's two formats of getting customers, two main formats really, if you break it down simplistically, and that's demand generation and demand capture. So demand generation is when you're actually going out to people and you are putting your product in front of their face, you're calling out a top of funnel audience, calling out their pain points, explaining what your brand does and what your product does. And then demand capture is the bottom of funnel, so people who want the product already. Now you can break it down much further, but when you break it down simplistically, it makes it easier to really think of this process. So this brand that we were working with really was just demand capturing, because people who wanted the product were searching in Google, and then they were capturing people who are already interested in the product. They'd click on the Google Shopping ad, go to the website and buy. Whereas with demand generation, that is meta ads all over. So that is going out to the brand, going out to the customers and actually attracting them, making your ads resonate with them, so they go onto the website and buy. So you've just generated demand. Obviously you can retarget in Facebook ads, and there's a whole funnel of different Facebook ads. You can do your middle of funnel ads, bottom of funnel ads, and that's what we're going to run through here. So meta can be used for the full funnel, but it's just the best at generating demand. So as you can see here, there's three parts of a funnel. So you don't need to separate your ads into top of funnel, middle of funnel and bottom of funnel campaigns anymore. You just have one or two campaigns, a testing campaign, one CBO or one ABO, and test your ad creatives in there. But you want to build a full funnel of messaging within your ad creatives. So we have educate is top of funnel. So these are the types of ads that you can make for your top of funnel style. Product demo, problem solution, viral ads, short form ads, storytelling and educational. And you can see this is going to stand out to people at the top of funnel who don't know you exist. All of these are explaining something, they're resonating, they're making people engaged. And as we all know, if you engage with an ad on Facebook, you will get shown it again. And that's usually not a retargeting campaign. That's just Meta's algorithm and AI knowing what to do. You know, it's better than us. It's better than the manual campaigns. Let Meta's AI do its thing. You know, Meta invests billions into the AI. So just let it do its thing, get out of its way. Just make sure you do your messaging within the creative itself. So middle of funnel, we have engage. So us versus them, testimonials, call out customers, social proof, before and after, benefits. So you can see how this is more converting people. This is making them understand, making them engage with the actual ad. And then bottom of funnel is actually just converting people. So static ads are really good for this, because you simply lay out what it is that you're offering, and if someone's interested, they're going to click. Same with us versus them. Like, all of these can still convert, by the way. Like, don't get that misunderstood. These are all ads that need to convert. Like, you're not just making kind of awareness style ads. You want to be out trying to convert people, but it's just the style of ad and who it attracts to. Some people won't convert first time, well, the majority of people won't convert first time. So that's why it's your job to make these ads to move them through the funnel and get them to convert, even though some people will buy off the product demos and the viral ads and stuff like that. So yeah, as I was saying, convert, we have offer statics, risk reversals and guarantees, scarcity and urgency, UGC, meme, trending statics. So these are the kind of ads that you have at the bottom of the funnel, really targeting people who have been on your landing page, people who have maybe added to cart. You're converting them with these simple offer statics to remind them that you're still there. And we all know if you engage with the video, you're going to get retargeted with a static ad on Meta. So that's a funnel that we try to build with all of our clients, and we do it within the messaging of our creatives and also with the formats. So you can also have podcast style ads, you can have GIFs, you can have street interviews, and all of that can be baked into this as well. Now, if we move on to the next phase, it was what was missing. So they had no meta ads, they had no ad creatives, zero awareness strategy or demand generation. They had no system for creative testing or message and market fit. They had high performing Google strategy, which was starting to plateau, so they pretty much capped. They couldn't scale further without massive margin compression. So they couldn't scale the Google ads unless they took a hit on the margins. Meta was seen as too risky because they had fear of bans, lack of in-house expertise, pretty much delayed ever trying Meta. So imagine these guys were stuck at 500k per month. Now I want to look at this, and it's kind of helps break down what we really tried to do here, because you can see they had no system for creative testing or message/market fit. Now that's important because you've got your whole total addressable market. So this is pretty much your whole customer base who is going to be buying that specific product or buying from your brand. Within that, there's different niches of your customer. So you have ICP1, that might be, let's say you sell a supplement, for example, that helps with back pain. You might have a dad or man who does manual work. You might have young boys, young girls in the gym. And then you might have an older woman. You might have an older man. So that's just 4 really, really broad examples to give you an idea of your total addressable market, then the niches of customer within. So it's super important to have creative testing that finds this message and market fit. So everything I spoke about earlier, these different types of ads, these need to be targeting people in your ICP. So you need to figure out who your ICP is and then target those with the styles of ads. And it's super important that you track this. We use an ad creative tracker. You can go to mediaengineer.com/ad tracker if you want access to the one that we use, managing $3 million a month on Meta. And pretty much simply who you're targeting, the angle, the concept. If you track that, it's going to make it so much easier when you're making ads in the future and reverse engineer what works, avoid what doesn't work, and actually compound creative learning. So that's what we always do with all of our clients. We make sure that the ad creatives are compounded, because it's very easy to make ads and just start from scratch every time, but you want to be building, and that's how you get consistent scale in your ad account. Now, if I break down what we did, we started with high volume static testing across top selling products. We focused on answering objections, skepticism, price, legitimacy. So you can see we are really starting with bottom of funnel stuff because we're trying to collect new people. So we're trying to connect people who have interacted on Google but haven't bought. So that's the lowest hanging fruit at this point, because imagine we've got their customer base and what they're doing. We can visualize that. A lot of people will be going onto Google, adding to cart and not buying. So that's why starting with the bottom of funnel here was the best play, and eventually going on to build top of funnel, targeting a broader audience, and then you can start scaling Meta as well. So focus on answering objections, skepticism, price, legitimacy. We built trust through social proof driven creative, set up catalog ads plus retargeting with automated feed integration. Now, as I said, bottom of funnel was the lowest hanging fruit because they're already spending a lot on Google. That means there's a lot of people in the funnel, and Meta's just not being used at all to retarget these people. So we also set up catalog ads, which would retarget with automated feed integration. So if people are adding things to the cart, specific SKUs, we can retarget those with catalog ads that will be dynamic, so it'll show them the actual product that they've added to cart. If they've been on landing pages, we can retarget them. We also consulted on email marketing and LTV uplift ideas, though it's still underused, but email marketing will be a huge play for these guys. As I said, they've already got that huge customer base, but they just need to implement email marketing now to make the use of it and increase LTV. So email marketing is definitely next on the step. When you're looking for objections, you're looking for customer emotions, Reddit is a great place, as well as your post-purchase surveys. If you have any reviews that you can use, anything on your kind of social profiles, comments, organic comments, your comments on your ads, look for objections like this. So we've got a coffee objection here. So we're working with a mushroom coffee brand, and this would be a previous failed solution. So does anyone experience bloating systems when drinking coffee? Coffee is the previous failed solution. You've also got the pain point of bloating systems. So that's a perfect angle. And you can actually just use that for a hook, you can use that for a headline, and you could actually tell this story in one of your ads. So I've had issues for over 2 years now, and after returning from a trip from Guatemala, I've had lots of pain when drinking coffee, not because it's acidic, but because of bloating and constipation. Has anyone else experienced that? So you can literally make an angle around that. You can make static ads around that, but obviously you're going to find tons of different angles, and it's about testing these first. So test these, see what works, see what resonates with your customers. You can A/B test static concepts, change the headline alone, see what resonates with your customer more, then build video angles around that. Now you found that objections and pain points and customer emotions that your brand is resonating with. But when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're aligning the messaging in your ads to your landing page. It can be, very, very tempting just to go and put a completely random customer emotion, but if it doesn't align with your landing page, it's not going to work. So in terms of the results that we're seeing, within weeks of launching Meta ads, sales began to climb above the previous 500k per month ceiling. So bear in mind, they're at 500k per month for 6 months before launching Meta with us. Meta ad spend in the last 30 days, 5.5k total, 58k in attribute sales, plus a broader uplift across the site. So the site is getting tons more traffic than it originally was because they just couldn't scale Google any further. They achieved a 10 ROAS on Meta in platform, whilst also increasing Google performance. So this was likely due to Meta generated demand. So they also introduced a few products. However, Meta was able to get so many more impressions, so much more traffic onto the website. So yes, it wasn't a huge scale, and we couldn't scale because the client pretty much capped us with a high ROAS target. So we had to take it slow, and usually it'd be much easier to scale this to 10 times, 50k spend, even 100k spend at 2 ROAS. We could have done that. However, the client had targets that we weren't able to scale so quickly because we had those high ROAS targets, which is fine. The brand's now doing 1.4 million a month. Meta Creative became the unlock for scale after hitting the Google ceiling. Now you can see a screenshot from the Meta ad account right here. This is last month, so July. Spent 5.5k, 10 ROAS, and as I said, we could have scaled much faster and much harder. However, the client had high ROAS targets, so we had to take it super slow and keep that ROAS high. So we're targeting the bottom of funnel now, and now after this we're going to be going on to attracting a more top of funnel audience so we can grow this Facebook campaign and grow scale. Now, but there's still lots of scale left in this, to be honest. This is just after 90 days, so we can still get more out of the current spend, scale the spend further whilst maintaining this for sure. And as we saw earlier, we have the total sales coming to 1.4 million. This was a few days ago, so it might be different from the first screenshot that we showed. But yeah, 1.4 million in a 90-day period after being stuck at 500k revenue for 6 months is very impressive. Now we can come over to key learnings from this, the last section, just so what you can take with you when you're going to make your ad creatives now and you're going to scale Meta ads and making ad creatives. This are the key learnings we can take with us. So Meta works even for Google heavy brands. If you're hitting a ceiling on Google Shopping, then it might be time for you to come over to Meta. You don't need a massive budget to validate Meta. 15k across the few months was enough to find product and creative fit. We saw that the bottom of funnel stuff was working. So you don't need a huge budget. We say kind of start testing ads. $150 a day, £100 a day is enough to be able to test and validate Meta to begin with, but you don't really want to be going less than that because it's not enough learning. Price-driven offers and social proof win. That was kind of common in all of the ads that we made, especially for this bottom of funnel style of ads. Attribution can lie, but sales growth doesn't. So yeah, it was only 10 ROAS in platform and it was only 55k in revenue in platform for the last 30 days. However, the fact that Google increased is enough to tell us that this total revenue lift was based off Meta. We spoke to the client and he said when we started working together, we've been at 500k for the past 6 months. If we go above this, it's 100% Meta. And we've kind of validated that, seeing the huge Google increase and the huge impressions on the site increase after launching Meta. We actually looked at Google Trends for the client's name and we saw the trends was going across 0. But then after we've launched Meta, they've actually started to show on Google Trends for the name. So previously no one was searching this brand's name, and now we're actually getting huge amounts of traffic to the site. So finally, creative strategy is the growth lever. So brand had no ad strategy, no assets, but the right system drove a 66% growth in weeks, which is huge. Now guys, if you want us to find your winning messaging, angles and hooks on Meta, we'll do this full process for you, researching your customers, find out your winning messaging, testing the ads, and then scale your winning messaging with creative diversity, podcasts, street interviews, UGC, statics, ugly ads. That's what we do so well. We find your winning messaging and then scale your ad account. Now, if you want that, then get a custom creative plan. Use the first link in the description to book a call with me, and we'll map out a plan to start scaling on Meta.